I want you to really get your mind right for the next few minutes that I have to share with you. And allow the comments that I share with you really to resonate, not just with you, but for something bigger than yourself, because that is really what is at the core of my spirit today. Something bigger than me is very resonant inside of me. My comments tonight are actually governed by the principle that you see here. I really am here today to talk about empowerment paradigm for today's educators, for tomorrow's leaders. Let me say it again, because this really governs where we're going to go for the next handful of minutes. Empowerment paradigm for today's educators and tomorrow's leaders. That's where I'm coming from today to share with you. And there are 6 frameworks that govern this paradigm that I put together to share for you this afternoon. Let me first start by saying gratitude is the stance with which I accept this podium now as I begin my remarks. Gratitude for all of you honoring me with a space at your place on this great day. Gratitude for you, the educators. Gratitude for you, President Castro, and the cabinet for allowing me to share this space with you today. The administrators, the faculty, the staff, your labor of love to produce tomorrow's leaders today is not lost on your speaker. Let that be very clear. For those in the community that are watching and listening and will watch the replay, this is also for you. I suggest that today you are part of the conversation that we say we and us, not me and I, in the nature of building a better tomorrow for all of us. I say good afternoon to all of you. But perhaps most importantly, my debt of gratitude is a position for the student body here today. For as I say, and I wrote it down because I want to say it just as I want you to hear it, to the student body that is here, I dare say that your tomorrow is directly tied to our today. Let me say it again. To the student body, your tomorrow is directly tied to our today. And that is not lost on your speaker. If you are ready to hear the empowerment paradigm, won't you say good afternoon? Good afternoon. If you are ready to hear it, let me hear you say good afternoon. Good afternoon. If you want me to get going, say good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm going now. Look at the picture, if you will. I think you should recognize at least 3 people on that screen, Fresno State. I hope you know at least 3 people in there. Let me first tell you, the man in the middle is your former president. That is the 44th president of the United States. I love this part. You see the woman he is gripping tightly so I don't make a move? He whispered at me, now, Ramsey, you know who I am? I said, oh, yes, sir. I know who you are. He said, you know who this is? I said, oh, yes, sir. I know who. He said, she's mine. I said, she's yours, sir. That is me in the red tie right next to the First Lady, and that is at the White House. That is actually 1 year ago, just this week, that I was there at the White House there with President Obama, Michelle Obama, and the other folks in the picture are trustees and leaders of the Ray Charles Foundation. We are here for a night that's getting ready to honor the life and legacy of one of the greatest musical icons, Mr. Ray Charles. And as a member of the board of directors of the Ray Charles, I had the privilege and the honor to be able to address the president's esteemed guests in the East Room, which is in the door right to the left that you see on that screen. I share that to say, don't marvel at me being there. I want you to marvel at the process that I went through to get there, much more than me actually being there. One of the greatest dreams come true for me, I will say, and I will say if someone like me from where I'm from could do what I did, then I dare say that everybody in here can do something pretty significant too. Would you agree? I hope you do, because that's how I'm going to talk to you. My name is Ramsey J. Jr., and as I said, I'm happy to be back here. I'm a graduate of the Craig School of Business at Fresno State and also of the Fresno State varsity track and field team. And I see one of my coaches, Red Estes, sitting back there in the back. It is good to see you, Coach Estes, who was here when I was a student-athlete coach, and Coach Fraley and Coach Estes, 2 parts of my foundational experience here. Good to see you, Coach. Thank you for being here. Now, I have great respect for the word success, but I want you to understand success, as I did my homework, is defined as the following. Listen to what success is. Success is defined as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. Success is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. As you will see, I am in the empowerment business, which means I am about helping someone have the authority or power to achieve their aim and purpose. I want to leave you with something that will allow you to achieve your aim and your purpose. I read this, and then I will begin. In the introduction, I say the following. It is one thing to tell a young person to have a dream. It is something fundamentally different to empower them to realize that dream. Perhaps it is the unending blessings of my own childhood that have infused me with a spirit of hope and optimism for all of our young people. I'm acutely aware that some of our young people face unfavorable economic forces, a tattered social fabric, a culture that seems considered to tell them they only can make it if they live in a certain zip code. But many of these young people, as you know here at Fresno State, are smart, they're talented, they're passionate, they are filled with limitless potential. And I feel I have a call in my life to remind them that in spite of everything, the power to change their life and reclaim their dreams remains yet in the palm of their hand. If you know a young person that needs to hear that, think about them as I begin my remarks. The power to change their life remains in the palm of their hand. The paradigm. You fundamentally change your life when you're willing to get uncomfortable and expand your customary way of thinking. Once you expand your way of thinking today. Anybody recognize this gentleman on the screen? Talk to me. Now, I'm not here to talk at you. Talk with me. Anybody recognize this man on the screen? Who is on the screen? Kobe Bryant. Who did he play for? How many years did Kobe Bryant play for the Lakers in the NBA? 20 years. Kobe Bryant played for the Lakers for 20 years in the NBA. So let me make sure you understand. This governs where we're going. Who's on the screen? How many years did he play in the league? Who did he play for? How many points did he average during his 20-year career? 24.5. Round up, sir, you're correct. 25 points a game. Kobe Bryant, man on the screen, played 20 years in the NBA, averaged 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 25, 5, and 5 guy. Pause on that. Who's on the screen? How many years did he play? How many points did he average? Remember those numbers. Let me walk over here and ask now this question. Who's on the screen? How many years did he play? How many points did he average? Question. In his prime, how many shots did Kobe Bryant make in the off season before he left the gym? I heard 13,000. I heard 1,000. What else? Nothing. I'm not hearing anything else. Play along with me. This is a very important point. How many years? How many points? How many shots did he make every day in the gym before he left? 5,000, 100. Here's my point. How confident are you that he played 20 years in the NBA? Averaged 25 points a game. How confident are you how many shots he made 6 days a week in the offseason? Nobody's confident. Here's my point. We have become masters of marveling at performance. We must now become masters at the process that one goes through to become an excellent performer. Why do you know he played 20 years in the NBA? Because you watch the game. You watch ESPN. You're looking at it on your phone. You're engaged in the process. You know, if you go to your phone right now and you Google Kobe Bryant, off-season, workout, regiment, you know what you'll get? You'll get a hit. You know what the hit will tell you? In his prime, Kobe Bryant didn't leave the gym until he made 700 shots. If he shoots 50% in practice, how many shots does he have to make before he leaves the gym? It's 700 times 2, 1,400. Question, what's the capacity at Staples Center? It's 18,000. Question, what's the capacity in the gym when he shoots those shots? Him and a guy shagging the ball. He became a great performer when no one was watching because of the process that he mastered day in and day out. Paradigm number one, become a master of the process. Master of the process. Don't marvel at the performance. Master the process. Master the process. Here they are. We'll do them quickly. Process mastery, didactic data analysis, redefine environments of variables, the human time, value, money, 3 Ps, and the motivator. Process mastery was one. Let me tell you this. Did anybody see the 2015 OECD PISA report? Came out a couple of months ago. If you don't, let me tell you what it basically says. Basically, the takeaway is every student in America needs to improve, and we need to get better interventions in the classroom to help it do it. How'd they do? They did mediocre, as the image shows. Many of the jobs of the future exist today, with many of them simply going unfulfilled because too few Americans have the skills needed to fill them. Now, the red line represents the United States. The purple line represents the average of the 72 countries that took this exam. These are 15-year-olds, and they're testing them on basic functions in math, reading, and science to allow them to be competitive for the jobs of the future. As you can see where we are as a country, 15-year-olds, we are decidedly mediocre. Slaughter and Reese, the economist out of Dartmouth, the professor who I studied under, put this report together. Decidedly mediocre. This is us as a country. Think about that. Go a little deeper. We're talking about didactic data analysis and thoughts. How about this? Let's make it a little more local. This is for the California County Fresno scorecard. Listen to this. 64% of families cannot afford basic living expenses in Fresno County. 4 out of 10 children live in poverty. 68% of Fresno's undergraduate students, or approximately 16,000, are qualified as first generation, and approximately 60% of Fresno State students matriculate from Fresno County. What should that tell you about the students that are coming here? They're coming from environments like this. Think about that. My bottom line when I say this says this to me as I get ready to speak and what I wanted to say. Fresno State is more than an education. For many students, it is the oasis of life and sustenance. What a powerful place to be. That it is an oasis of life and sustenance for so many of our students that matriculate here. This is their oasis. Many programs that have started here have been started to be able to serve the oasis that students that come to Fresno State need. Think about that. But data projections are based on legacy inputs, therefore they're not absolute. I have an MBA from one of the top schools in the country, worked on Wall Street. That means I've taken more finance and stats classes than I can forget. That's what that really means. So think about this. When someone suggests data like that and they put it out as a projection on where we're going, there's no way you can put a forward projection in front of anybody without that projection having legacy data inside of it, which means it is not absolute. You cannot guarantee to extrapolate the data I just showed you and say how dire the picture is and how woe is us, because that data is based on legacy inputs by definition. Which means, as we sit here today, I'm going to suggest my paradigm has elements in it that will allow us to change some of the ways those statistics may read for us today. In order to do that, you've got to look at that data differently. And I have an image that I think will begin to show you where I'm going. Because data doesn't show you what this picture should show you. Fresno State, African American graduation. I am on the other side of that table. I do not know how old that young boy is, but what I do know, I'm talking to him like he probably has not been talked to in some time. He is holding that book, and more importantly, he is holding on to every word that I'm speaking into his life. The Sentencing Project will tell you that 1 in 3 African American males will spend time incarcerated in his or her lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to suggest, what about the one that I'm talking to right here in this photograph? What about the book that he is reading? What about the message that is being imparted into his heart? Is this one young boy potentially the answer to the other two? I would suggest Fresno State created an oasis for me to be an oasis to him, And I dare say that he could be an oasis to so many others. Remember, when you look at data, data doesn't show you what this one picture should show you. This picture is not in the data, but this picture is in front of you today. Let that be part of what you look at when you look at data going forward. I'm not here to suggest it's easy work, but I'm here to say profoundly, optimism is the spirit with which I've come today. And optimism is pictures like this that are not few and far between, but they're happening constantly, and I'm going to continue to push them forward. Does anybody believe in the power of one? Does anybody believe in the power of one? Because before there was 100, there was one. I say to you, Fresno State, keep getting one. I also say this to you. Whenever you ask where you're from, your answer should also state where you're going. It's okay if you've come from the left side, but if you're going to the right side, make sure you tell them that when they ask. Every time I talk to young people, it's not about where you're from. I want to hear where you're from, but I want to hear where are you going. Here at Fresno State, where are we going? Bold to the top. Bold to the top. Bold to the top. Controllable variables. What can we control? Attitude, preparation, work ethic, faith, and belief. What we can't control, by the way I define it, family structure, socioeconomic status, educational inefficiencies. As I want to put this list together, my tagline is able to influence such that change is evident nearly instantly. The column on the right will continue to work on structural policy reforms. I'm with that, I'm pro that. But what I'm most pro is the column on the left, controllable variables. Because if we can help students master their attitude, preparation, work ethic, faith, and belief in themselves, I like their chances with the uncontrollable variables. Follow me. Help students navigate the uncontrollable by having an acute focus on equipping them to master the controllable. Back to what they were. Attitude, preparation, work ethic, faith, and belief. What is the most powerful element of this equation? I'm a finance guy, so I had to give you a little bit of math. What is the most powerful element of this? If I said to you $1,000 invested at 10% compounded annually for 20 years is $6,727 in the 20th year. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 variables to choose from. Which of those 4 is the most powerful element in the equation? Talk to me. I heard N, I heard future value, I heard present value, I heard R. I heard all of them, Dr. Castro. That is not what we're looking for here. I heard every answer that you could have given me here, so let me take a quick poll. Hand up if you believe it's the present value, PV, hand up. Nobody. If you believe it is the rate of return, R, put your hand up. Sprinkling. If you believe it is N, the period of time, sprinkling. More than, okay, more. And future value, FV, who's with me there? So it looks like we're torn between N and FV. N represents the period of compounding time that you have for that money to reintroduce its proceeds back into the principal and compound over and over again. So the most powerful element of this is actually N, the number of periods, which is why they say start saving early so you don't have to worry about it later. It's the period that your money has the ability to compound. Now, I'm not going to speak finance, but I want to give you a little bit so you know I earned my degree at the Craig School. But what I really want to do is show you what happens if you use this equation for the human pursuit, the human value of this equation. I've transferred it into the following, and I actually think it works. Listen. Present value is the sum total of everything you have done, the decisions you have made, the people you have touched as of right now. The rate you implement process to improve all those things is your R. The N is the periods that you have that you can repeat the processes to refine themselves. And FV becomes the sum total of everything you will do, the decisions you will make, and the people you will touch. The human equation of the time value of money. In case you're not following, here's your takeaway. When is the time? Now is the time to make calculated investments and processes to underwrite your future life milestones, Fresno State. It's today. It's a today decision to do little things incrementally every day to underwrite the milestones that you want to achieve tomorrow. It's a today equation. humanize the time value of money. Now I'm going to talk about my principles. Dr. Castro, you are going to be featured, sir. Time to wake up. This slide is here on purpose. This is about the time in a presentation when people can lose their interest. I've done enough of these to know this is a time when you can't afford to lose your interest. You need to get honest about what would happen if you didn't change anything today, tomorrow. You need to get very honest about what would happen in your life if you didn't start changing things today, right now. You need to be honest about what would the picture of your life 10 years from now look like today if you didn't start changing things right now. And be honest about that picture. It's time to wake up. It's in the book. For those that haven't bought the book, now it's on the screen. I'm having fun with it, but I'm also being very serious. It's time to wake up. 6 isms. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. I've talked about on the last panel with students. There is no rule in the pursuit of excellence that says you should be comfortable all the time. I'm here to say get comfortable being uncomfortable. Number 2, earn 2 Fs early and often. I want you to be the first because if you're the first, you can make sure you finish, and if you finish, you can make sure you're not the last. Be the first, be proud, but make sure you finish. Number 2, I want you to found something. If it hasn't been here, start it yourself. I know I can represent for the cabinet's perspective that if you see something here that needs to be done, this is a cabinet under Dr. Castro's leadership that will say, be bold and show us how. Do not wait. Be the first, and if it's not here, create it. Be a founder. The methodology, 3 Ps, possible, probable, predictable. Can I introduce you to somebody that you may not know like you will know right now? May I show you? Instead of asking why you, start asking yourself, why not you? Instead of asking why you, why not you? This person, grandson of farm workers from Mexico. This person's mom supported the family as a beautician. This person, first in their family to graduate from a university. Let me say those 3 things again. Grandson of farm workers from Mexico. Mom supported the family as a beautician. First in the family to graduate from a university. I want you to keep that in mind. That's not that person. That's your speaker in 5th grade. Thank you. I knew it always gets sympathy. That's me in the 5th grade. Why am I showing you that picture? Why would I show you this picture of me in the 5th grade? The picture on the right is me when I'm 29 years old at Morgan Stanley. The upper caption, that's the president, and the cover, that's when I became one of the 30 young leaders under 30 in Ebony magazine. The picture on the right is me at my office in Morgan Stanley in Century City downtown as a finance professional. The picture on the left is me in the 5th grade as a 5th grader. The principle here is believing that it is possible. I want you to listen to this. I wrote this because somebody needs to hear this. What is your calling? What is your gift? What is it you want the world to know? When I was very young, I wanted to work with money. As fate would have it, my first job was as a teller in a small community bank in Santa Paula, where the patrons came in after working in the fields as migrant farm workers. They worked long hours, and I loved the feeling I had of gratitude that I was actually playing a small part in helping hardworking citizens put food on the table. Why am I pausing here? As a 5th grader, I did not know anybody who did the kind of banking I went on to do. I did not know anybody who looked like me that had the career that I ended up having. I didn't have access or exposure to the career that I ended up building for myself. But I sat there in Ventura in my room by myself as an only child and believed in my mind that if my mind will allow me to continue to believe it's possible, then guess what? Every now and then I'm going to get a chance to inch a little bit closer to the reality. Put a picture in this. This picture that you see with me doesn't happen if I'm in 5th grade and I don't believe in my mind that it's possible. If I've made up my mind in 5th grade because of what's happened, it's not possible. The picture on the right does not happen. You've got to believe that it is possible. Back to the person I was thinking of, grandson of farm workers from Mexico. Mom supported the family as a beautician, first in his family to graduate from a university. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to the president of your university. Now, I want you to enjoy the story, but more importantly, I want you to understand the power of the truth of your president. President Castro was the first to do a lot of things because he believed it was possible. Remember what I said about those statistics? Be more didactic in how you look at them. I wonder if Dr. Castro is the one, has he had not an exponential influence on hundreds? If you don't believe me, when I asked Dr. Castro about supporting my vision for this book, he said, send me the first 3 chapters. The first endorsement on my book is your president. Not the second, not the third, the first. And if I show you University 1 students, if I show you first-year experience students who had me late like I was today, Provost Selesny, because they would not let me and the information that I shared in that book go, my whole schedule, I was late all day. And I'm proud to say I was late because your students were hungry for the information that this book provided. And here's where I'm going with that. If I sit here at this age and say it's not possible, Dr. Castro sits there during his journey of being the person who says it's not possible, then all these students in University 1, first-year experience, don't know it's possible either. The power of one person saying, no matter what, I still believe this thing is possible, can be tied directly to someone else's destiny. Don't ever sit here and say it's not possible despite what it might look like. That's a selfish position, and it could be directly tied to someone else's future. I want to thank Dr. Castro for believing it was possible. You have no idea, sir, how many people have helped the ripple effect because you said, I'll believe. And you deserve public recognition for that, and I'm giving it to you. Along the way, let me make it clear that if you're not hearing no, I believe you're aiming too low. Get comfortable with that no answer. That means you're aiming high enough, Fresno State. We're not in the business of always hearing yes because we're pushing the envelope of expectation here. WTYT. I had to learn how to keep the naysayers away from me. How did it happen? True story. When I graduated from Fresno State, I wanted to go to a top 10 business school. At the time, Fresno State had only had one student in its whole history ever go to the Tuck School of Business. One. They told me, Ramsey, you can't go. Ramsey, you'll never make it. Ramsey this, Ramsey that, Ramsey this, Ramsey this, Ramsey that, Ramsey. Are you getting it? You'll never be able to do it. Here's where I'm trying to go. Has anybody been told you can't do something? Has anybody heard that? Hand up if you have. If you haven't, you will. Here's what happens when you start letting people get into your mind and tell you what you can't do. You're processing that negative energy, whether you realize it or not. It's getting into your subconscious. You're beginning to doubt what you can do because you're letting people tell you what you can do. So here's what I decided I wrote about and how I teach this. Someone tells me I can't do something, let me play this out loud for you. Dr. Castro says I can't go to the White House and write a book. Dr. Castro, with all due respect, may I ask you a question, dear sir? Who told you that? Unless you're the keeper of my destiny, of which I believe is my Lord and Savior, I don't believe any mortal man has the ability to take my dream away from me unless I give it to him. Let me say it again. Unless you are the one up on high, no mortal man or woman has the ability to take my dream from me. No matter what has happened in my past, my dream of tomorrow is still mine, and I have the right to protect it, which means respectfully, I will ask, who told you that? I've been asking for almost 2 decades. Do you know I still have not found who has that answer? Who told you that? Binding together with your accountability partners, a toothpick by itself easily broken. You bind 30 of those together, the strongest person in this room could not break it. You bind together with people who go through the struggle that you're in, and together you will all make it. Individually, you may not make it at all. Find other people in the struggle and bind together with them. Stick together. Together you will make it. Individually, you'll be tested and tried. Bind together. Work extraordinarily hard to make it probable. Anybody know which one I am? Let me move out the way. Some people are actually trying to struggle and figure this one out. This is the easiest slide I got. Ramsey J., the anchor of the 4x100 relay team in Ventura County, the fastest relay team. For many years, we heard the record there, and I was the anchor. They thought I was great. I was always in the lead. All I had to do was not trip and fall, and I would win the race, but they gave me all the accolades because I was the anchor. Yeah, so be it. I had a good time with it, though. It carried me all the way here to Fresno State, and I'm happy about that as a track and field athlete. But the story I like to share here is always making sure people know, how did you actually get to the place where you made it onto the street? And I like to tell this story every chance I get because you need to hear it. I wanted to work on Wall Street at the time. They recruited at 4 schools. You can figure them out: Stanford, Berkeley, USC, UCLA. Ramsey J. went to Fresno State. He's got a problem. What do you do if your dream doesn't come to you? Give up on it, or do you go to it? You go to it. So I drove from here to Fresno State, met the recruiter in the parking lot. She said, "Ramsey, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, boy, I'm doing great." She said, "How you doing? How you liking your time here?" I said, "It's like it's brand new to me. It's like I've never been here before. I love this campus. Everything about it is brand new." She said, "You answered that question kind of funny, Ramsey." I said, "No, I answered it how you asked me." She asked me if you're a student here. I said, "Yes, I'm a student, and I'm here." Stay with me. I'm moving. She asked me one more time, "Are you a student and you're enrolled here?" I said, "Yes, I'm a student and I'm enrolled and I am here." I can do this all day. How long would you like to? Finally, she gets to answering the question that she wants. She wants to know if I'm a student at Stanford taking classes, to which the answer is no. And then she asked me a question that could have defined my destiny and could define yours. She looked at me and she said, "Then why are you here?" How many times have you been at a point in your life when you were close to something you wanted and someone on the other side challenged your truth in being at that door? Somebody heard the same question. They turned around and went home. I heard the same question, and I said, "I'm here because I read the flyer," and the flyer said any student should attend. Last time I checked, I'm a student. I'm attending. I'm good. I want you to enjoy the story, but also understand the truth, because somebody else read that flyer and it read something different to them. Let me make a point here. Don't be the reason you get eliminated from the game. Somebody said, "Wow," let me say it again. Don't be the reason you get eliminated from the game. You make them tell you no. And here's the beauty. When they tell you no, how many people can honestly say they do this? I taught this to your students, Dr. Castro, and they took notes because they said, "Oh." How many people can say 100% of the time when you've been told no, in the middle of the rejection, you said, "I'm so disappointed, but may I ask you for feedback in the moment of the rejection?" The feedback you get a week later or 2 weeks later is not the same as the rejection in the moment feedback. How many people can say you took notes on that feedback and added it to your file so the next time you applied for the position, you could go back to the notes of the feedback from the past? I went through my rejections 54 times. By the 55th yes, I knew every question you were going to ask me. You had to hire me. How many people, when they get told no, retreat or come back and aim lower? Both dream derailing activities, and they're a habit. Quitting is a habit. It's easier the more you do it. I'm glad he's here. This is the dream plan. But I'm more proud of this young man, and I'm going to tell his story because he's here. Now, I hear you like him, but let me tell you why we all need to learn from his process. We love his story, but I love his process even more. John Hunt Jr., Banning, California. John Hunt Jr., siblings before him did not make it, had challenges. Leave it there. John Hunt Jr. says, I'm going to find a way. John Hunt Jr. gets into Fresno State, torn between coming to Fresno State or staying home with his younger brother because his younger brother was looking up to John Hunt Jr. to help him make it. John Hunt Jr. says, I'm going to come on up here to Fresno State by myself in my Honda. John Hunt Jr. moves into his living place here at Fresno State, watching his classmates move in with loved ones and friends. No one was able to support John Hunt Jr. move into his facilities as a freshman at Fresno State. John Hunt Jr. wondered whether or not he belonged here at Fresno State because he was here all by himself. John Hunt Jr. kept on keeping on. John Hunt Jr. found resources like the Renaissance Scholars and other organizations here that say at Fresno State, if you get here, we'll help you get across the line, but get here. And he got here, and he got across the line. I'm so proud of this picture. This is me and John Hunt Jr. after he earned his degree as the first in his family. I'm doing this on purpose because John Hunt Jr. now is working at Fresno State. John Hunt Jr. is now helping students like John Hunt Jr. when they get to Fresno State. So when they get here and they're not sure if there's anybody like them here, John Hunt Jr. is here to say, present and accounted for. I worked hard to make it probable. I have a process, and I can help you do it too. He'll go on and get his PhD and become a leader for young people that need someone like him to be an expert on the processes, the systems, and live the life that these young people need to see someone live. Back to the data I said at the beginning, the didactic data analysis. What if that one is John Hunt Jr.? What if that one is John Hunt Jr.? I think we have a reason to have pride and hope in what we can do today, despite what some of the data may suggest. And John Hunt Jr., you've given me that hope, sir. And he's here if you didn't know. He's right over here, John Hunt Jr. Why else do I have hope? Because it was just a few months ago, this entire auditorium was full. You can't even see all of the students in this photograph because they're spilling out of the aisles. The African American Student Success Conference, I had a chance to speak here for more than 400 African American students here from the county of Fresno. And I say to people who doesn't understand, I say, where's this picture? Where's this story? Well, here it is. And it happened right here at Fresno State. Working hard to make it probable. And I'll keep showing the story and the picture as often as I can, and you should too. Because this is what we can do, not what we can't do. Making it probable. Every no you get is a deposit in the bank and eventual yes. I'll close with that, but let me get to where I want to end with. Two numbers I need you to remember as I close. The picture on the right was taken in 2005. What year? What year did I speak at the White House? That's what's happening in the other picture. What year was that? It was a year ago this week. So what year? So your two numbers are 2005 and what? There you go. So let me tell you about the picture on the right. That's me getting that card made in 2005 when I'm a student at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. I walked into the print shop, got the card made, told the woman I wanted to say professional speaker and author on it, put my title on there, come back in 2 weeks to pick it up. 2 weeks later, in 2005, I picked that card up, walked out the same day someone walked in. Haven't seen her in a while, like I haven't seen some of you in a little while. The woman asked me, do you have a card? I said, I have 250 of them. How many would you like? I reached into my pocket and gave her one of those cards. She says, oh, Ramsey, I didn't know you were a professional speaker. I said, oh, and author. Don't cheat me. Look at the card. Fresno State, how many professional speeches do you think I had given in 2005? 0. Let me help you. In 2005, how many books had I authored at that time? Let me help you. 0. What am I saying? I'm getting prepared for an opportunity, not knowing when it's going to come, so I'm ready when it does come, not the other way around. She said, oh, I got an event coming up. Can you come? I want to talk. There were 30, 40 people there. I gave a speech. They asked for a card. I said, I got 249, but I'm big business. Better get me now. You may never get me again. I've been giving speeches ever since because I decided I was prepared when it happened. Now, why am I giving you the math? 2005, 2016. Arguably, the biggest platform you can have as a speaker is probably what happened in that one in 2016. Question for you. What's the difference in years between 2005 and 2011? 2005 and 2011 is 6. 2005 and 2015 is how many? 10. Add 1, 2005 and 2016 is? So what was the difference in years between the day I decided to get prepared and the day that my actual opportunity came? 11 years. Listen to this point. Breakthrough opportunities that you want will not allow you to get ready today for them. If you start getting ready today, you won't be prepared. Speaking at the White House, I close with this. There was a camera just about like these two are in the back. Had a red light on it, 2 dual prompters running on it. Ramsey, you ever used one of them before? 100 times. Some of you know that's not true. But you guess what? You don't say to the White House, how do you do? What do you? What do we do? How do we do that? Can't do that. Lights went on. The prompter was running because it had to run on the minute. Dr. Lamas had to run on the minute because President Obama was going to take that podium at the minute after the hour. They said no ifs, ands, or buts about it, which means you can't screw it up. Lights went on. TV1, PBS was running, and they were getting ready to say the president was coming through that door in about 8 minutes. You're on. I went up there and I decided in the moment that I would not use the prompter. When you watch that replay on TV, I am not using the prompter. I didn't know how to use it. How in the world can you be on that stage at that moment and not know how to use the machine that you need to use to be able to deliver the speech you need to deliver? Unless you had been preparing years in advance. So when the moment came, you could stand up and deliver. And it sounded something like this. We would like to thank President Obama, the First Lady, and the Smithsonian. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to celebrate the life and legacy of Mr. Ray Charles, one of the greatest musical icons. And in the name of Mr. Charles himself, if he was here, I think he might say, you got the right one, baby. And you enjoy it, and they enjoyed it. And at the whole time, I was not using any of the machines that they said I needed to know how to use. Can you imagine how different the moment would have been if I wasn't prepared for my opportunity before it came? Last thing. Anybody recognize this gentleman? If you don't, that's... Do you guys know who that is? Well, talk to me. Who is it? David Carr. And he plays for what team? Sorry, Derek Carr. He plays for what team? But he came from where? Say it like you know. Here's the interesting thing as I close with this story. Remember the story I showed on the front? Who was the athlete I showed you? How many years did he play? How many shots did he make in the offseason? He made 700. He made 700. I haven't changed the answers. Watch the tape. But I want you to see how this story ties together. This is a predictable athlete that became very successful, and I'm going to show you why I believe he was so successful. This is an Instagram post that he posted when Kobe was getting ready to retire. I will read it for you in case you can't quite see it. At Kobe Bryant, it started with me wanting to be the best at what I do, so I sought out the best, most competitive, hardest working person I could find. I copied every move, every shot you made in my driveway as a kid. Then I took that competitive drive and intensity you had and put it into working my tail off. The term hard work gets thrown around loosely, but you taught me what it really means, so thank you for everything. Hopefully one day some kid will be saying the same thing about me. Hashtag respect, hashtag Mamba, hashtag 24, hashtag greatest of all time. So guess what I can guarantee you, if we had Mr. Carr here, I guarantee you if we had him in the front row and I called on him and I asked him that question about how many years, he would have told you 20. How many points? He probably would have given you 25. But you know what else I bet he probably would have nailed? How many shots he made in the gym when no one was watching. Think of that picture. Think of that lesson. Think about the difference if he would not have known how many shots he made. It was predictable for him. Let me leave you with this. I'm purposely not speaking because I want you to actually interpret this before I interpret it for you. The only consistent thing in each picture in there is myself and Fresno State. I want you to think about that. Those are the only two consistent things in this photograph, is me and Fresno State. Start with the picture on the right. These are members of the Craig School of Business Advisory Council. We had a breakfast. Here's what I can tell you from every person on that screen. Loves Fresno State students. Wants to mentor Fresno State students. Believes in Fresno State students. Dean Bonham Harper to the left loves Fresno State students. Believes in Fresno State students. Will do whatever he can to support Fresno State students. Lower right, that's me talking to Fresno State students well after the bell had ended for class to move on, and they stayed there. Loves Fresno State alum coming back to talk to Fresno State students. Upper right, leadership coaching session. 7 Fresno State students, a couple of them aren't there in the picture, had me late for my next appointment because they wouldn't let me out of lunch. Love Fresno State alum coming back and coaching them up. And the last one, a room like this with the first-year students, first-year experience, and aspiring business majors learning about making their dreams become a reality. I want to close by telling you, when you believe that things like this can happen, and you come from a place that's allowed you to make them happen, you'll put more into it than you will in anything else because you know it can happen. And when you see people rise up like this, the diversity of the people that are here all say on one accord, we love Fresno State and our student body. What a special place to be. And what a special time to be at a special place. What a special time to be at such a special place. Let me leave you with my gift, and I'll close. Close your eyes for 3 minutes, and I will leave on this note. Close your eyes for 3 minutes, and I leave on this note. This is the quintessential motivator, the one thing that I believe all of us must possess. This is the quintessential motivator, the one thing that we all must possess. As we close the 2017 Fresno State Success Summit, I want those that are here to isolate the one person who you know. You would not be here hearing me speak if not for the person that you're thinking of right now. The one person who you know has made extraordinary sacrifices, investments for you to be able to pursue your career or your education here at such a fine institution like Fresno State. Paint a picture crystal clear so if that person was nose to you, the picture couldn't be any clearer. Who is that person in your life? Take time to burn it in 3, 2, and 1. Eyes closed, stay there. Second frame, I want you to think about specifically what things did they do to help you get here? If they wrote cards, read their handwriting. If they sent text, hear that chime pipe up again. They worked 2 jobs. What jobs did they work? If they went without so you could go with, would they go without so you could go with? Replaying very specific things that they did for you in your life. What did they do? Replay those scenes in 3, 2, 1. Eyes closed, we now know who they are. Number 2, we know what they did. Number 3, imagine we gather at the Student Success Summit in 2027, 10 years from today. You have not seen the person you're thinking of in 10 years. And you come back together at the 10-year anniversary of the 2017 Student Success Summit. And the person hasn't seen you, but they're excited to see you. It's been 10 years since you decided you were going to do some things differently. And they ask you a simple question, Fresno State. They ask you, how did you do? With all the love, all the support, all the sacrifice, all the investment, how did you do? And while some of you are emotional thinking about the question, I'm excited because you have an opportunity to make it the right answer. There's only 2 answers. One of them is well. Well is a qualifier. It means you're getting ready to say why you didn't do everything you could have done to make them proud. So let's not even answer the rest of that one. The second one, our answer here at the Success Summit is this. I finished the race. I finished the race. And the reason you finished it, Success Summit, is because you thought about where you would be if the person you're thinking about in your life right now would have ever given up on you and your race. And you know that answer is not the answer you ever want to be your answer going forward again. So the charge is clear from here forward at the summit. We've finished the race in honor of the person you're thinking of right now, and the legacy and spirit with which they've given you to be able to be here at such a time as now, to make Fresno State what it is, the oasis of hope that it is for so many of the next leaders of this state, perhaps this country, and who knows, maybe even the world. And what an opportunity for us to make sure we say we're going to finish the race in the spirit of those who finished it before us. If that's you, with your eyes closed, just give me a quick hand if you've got somebody that you can think about to make sure you finish the race. Hands up all over. With your eyes closed, you may now open them in 3, 2, 1. I leave you with this. My quintessential motivator, Mary Lee Barrett, grew up in the South, Jim Crow era. Color of her skin said she couldn't pursue an education like her grandson did. But I graduated from high school, college, and grad school, and all 3 times Mary Lee Barrett was there in the audience graduating with her grandson on stage. She passed away a few years ago, but her proudest moment, she'll probably tell you, was when I got my degree from the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth, and the first African-American speaker in 105 years got up there and delivered the commencement address, and she said, "That's my grandson." And when I graduated, my grandmother graduated. So leave me this promise. Whoever that picture that you have in your life is, as you leave this summit and go back to normal activity, maybe take this portrait with you wherever you go and make that activity mean a little something more every time you get to do a little something for someone else. I'm not interested in what the statistics say. I'm not interested in what the trends say. I'm interested in what your heart says. I'm interested in what your soul says. I'm interested in what this picture says. I'm interested in how that makes you do what you do on behalf of someone else at a school like Fresno State that is needed more now in the state of California than ever before. What an opportunity we have to be bold. Thank you.